Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we got the fourth sneak peek for the upcoming update, and this only further confirms that all of the leaks thus far have been correct. We got the Silver Surfer, we got the Galactus, and now we are getting Wave. So let's just investigate this a little bit. Near the shores of Cebu, which is an island in the Philippines, Marvel's newest Filipina superhero is ready to protect her home in Marvel Future Fight. Insert the name here, and when you copy this link up to the underscore, and you type in wave with capital or lowercase, you get from this image, which includes waves and what looks like an island shore or at least some sort of beach shore, and her helmet, her sort of like headgear, you get this image, which we've already seen. This was the leaked image that was posted accidentally, and so now we've come up to the point where we know as much as the leaks told us almost a week ago. So whatever we get from here on out, if we get any more sneak peeks, if we get key art or whatever, hopefully we'll get some new stuff. Maybe we'll get a visual on Silver Surfer. Maybe we'll go in for Namor as well. I'm very excited. But in the meantime, I thought it would be fun, and it would be cool, and it would be informative to talk about Wave specifically, because I admitted, and it's true, I didn't know anything about her in the last video, but since then I've done my homework. There wasn't a lot of homework, teacher, I promise. There was 5 issues of comics to go and read, because she's an extremely new character. I think she was originally announced back in March of this year, so we're talking like super recently, and then she was featured as sort of a side character, but still important in the Agents of Atlas sort of side story to the War of the Realms invasion. So for those of you that don't know, and I haven't read the entire War of the Realms series, so I can't give you the full synopsis, but I can give you a short bit and why it relates to them, to these characters that I'm about to talk about. Well, in this case, Wave for the most part, but essentially in War of the Realms, the bad guys decide that they're going to invade all of the realms. War, that's why there's a war for the realms. And one of the realms that they invade, there's 9 realms, is Earth. And so you have Malekith landing in New York, you have other characters, and the one that focuses, that Wave becomes the focus of, is when the daughter of Surtur, I think his name is Syndra, she invades the Pacific. So she invades near the Philippines, she invades Korea, she invades in China, and so that whole region gets hot, very hot, because she's of course the daughter of Surtur, and then Wave and a whole bunch of other Asian superheroes have to team up together, and they sort of become the new Agents of Atlas. And there's a lot of familiar faces like Silk, like Crescent and Io, like Luna Snow, of course, like White Fox, like Amadeus Cho, and there's also some newcomers as well. So it's pretty cool, and I actually have a panel at the end that I want to show you guys, which is very cool. It's a bit of a spoiler, but if you haven't read it and you don't care about spoilers, it might encourage you to read it, because some of the artwork is actually really cool, and some of the sort of combo pieces are actually really nice. But let's focus on Wave for now. I don't talk too much about comic books specifically, so I'll do my best here. So Wave's name is Pearl Pangan, and she is Wave. She's a superhero, and from what I can tell as far as her powers are concerned, she's from the Philippines, she's from Cebu. Her powers basically revolve around being able to control water. Now, it's unclear from the comics so far that I've read whether she can actually create new water out of nothing, or whether she needs some existing water source, or perhaps a combination of the two. It doesn't really show how far or how extreme her powers go, but obviously being able to control existing water, as we'll see in some of the later panels, her powers in the ocean are extremely strong. We're talking like around the levels of much stronger characters, specifically when it comes to just controlling water. But whether she can actually, you know, come up with water out of the blue or siphon water from existing sources, we don't see anything in sort of a city setting which would test her ability to kind of like draw water out from unconventional or sort of hard to reach or out of place sources and sort of combine it. And there's really nothing about other liquids that water is, you know, mostly composed of, like soda or something like that. Anyways, a little bit of fun fact for you guys, which is, it's kind of cool. The kind of inspiration for this image, or this drawing of Wave, in addition to the original artwork for Wave, is actually based on a Filipina. I think she's like a model slash actress slash singer. She's just kind of like a celebrity named Nadine Luster, I think. And so this is her in 3 different images. She's quite pretty, and there's the flag of the Philippines. And so apparently the original drawing of her face and sort of that feature of her was based on this actress, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as the comic goes, I'm not going to recap the whole comic, but I'll start off with just a really quick, brief origin of the character. So she's from the Philippines. She's from Cebu. She really likes to swim. She becomes basically an Olympic-level athlete, specifically for swimming. But because of her social situation and because of kind of hardships, she ends up not being able to pursue a career in swimming and in sort of professional sports competitions. And then she gets approached by this company, and this company basically offers her lots of money to just swim for them. And they've got all this high-tech gear, and they're kind of testing things, and she just thinks that it's some sort of company with technology, and it has to do with swimming and maybe like hydro energy and stuff like that. And so basically, it turns out that of course they're up to something, and they get attacked by these unknown forces. And in the ensuing attack, there's explosions, yada yada yada, and Pearl gets hit. There's right there at the bottom of the frame. It's kind of cut out, but basically she gets electrocuted while surrounded by water. And this is, I guess, the genesis for her powers being born. And so she gets really upset at these intruders. She was just trying to work. She was just trying to make some money, and she was apparently making good money. So, in a rage, she basically just tries to attack them, and we see the first manifestations of her power where she basically puts her hand up. It's actually really cool, and there's a water hand. So we could see something like that in Future Fight. We could see her kind of like motioning with her hands, and you could see like possibly giant water hands coming out, sort of similar to Hydro Man's when he turns into that giant serpent, except it would just be 2 or 1 giant hand, sort of like Sandman as well, type attacks. Then she basically does a frontal assault with water, and she kind of throws the water ahead, and she just kind of looks like she's taking on sort of a martial arts stance, basic stuff, but then she gets attacked, and then she kind of comes to realize, oh, that's the next panel. Anyways, she comes to realize that the people that attacked the building are the good guys, and she was working for the bad guys. Ooh, very cool twist. Anyways, later on, we see her in Agents of Atlas. She's here with Fire Goddess and this new Chinese hero named Arrow, and she's kind of surfing in. So in addition to having control over water, she's got these sort of wings. I don't think she can fly with them necessarily, but I think she uses them in conjunction with her hydrokinesis to sort of simulate flying. But I think she also uses the water to kind of like propel herself up in a jet motion, and then maybe she glides with the wings. It's not quite clear. And then she has these 2 pretty badass swords. I don't know where the swords come from. I don't know their origin. She uses them sparingly. Oh, these are out of order. Anyways, she uses the swords sparingly. I've got a little panel here where she slices a demon, or kind of like a goblin, and she also uses some water here in conjunction with Luna Snow, who's freezing it, which is pretty cool. And then there's another panel here where she's slashing this like octopus-looking creature, but for the most part, she relies on her water, and this is probably the biggest indication of her power level. She's sitting, or she's in the Pacific Ocean somewhere, and she basically creates this gigantic whirlpool using Arrow's wind powers, or kind of wind manipulation, to combine it into the air, and then Luna Snow freezes it. So a pretty cool combination of 3 different elements, and that would probably be something like her 5th skill attack, if she would kind of go into the middle of the arena and create a giant whirlpool and kind of just spin around. Maybe it's an iframe, something like that. That would probably be like an ultimate type attack. We can see her later on as well, kind of creating a waterfall, or not a waterfall, sorry, kind of like a mini tsunami, and then it gets combined with the, I think her name is Pele, her kind of fire or molten sort of lava rock spears, spiky things that stab a bunch of goblins. And then we see her here again combining with Luna and Arrow, and she's using her swords to defend herself in some sort of way, and then she's slashing one of the tentacles of this like octopus looking thing. And then we see this really cool final splash page where they're all kind of jumping and attacking Syndra, and you can see that she's kind of flying. I guess they all teleported through the air somewhere around the top of the panel, and she's got water behind her, which indicates that she uses that in some way to kind of propel herself forward in kind of an attacking stance. The last panel I want to show you guys is not related to Wave, but it is this pretty cool little panel where they're going to punch her all at the same time, and you can recognize quite a few faces from this punch. We've got, of course, Crescent down at the bottom, we've got Shang-Chi, we've got Io, we've got White Fox, and we've got, I think his name's Swordmaster, all hitting Sindri or Syndra at the same time. So yeah, I think this is really cool. I like the drawing, I like the color, I like the expressions. This probably sold me on it. Overall, I mean, I'm not a huge comic book connoisseur type person, so I don't think my opinion on comics matters too much, but this was one of the better panels, and this was one of the moments where I was like, this is pretty fun. It's a quirky little team up, but it definitely works, especially when you've got a giant spirit bear punching you know, a Norse god or an Asgardian, whatever, evil demon god in the face. In the middle of the desert, I think. So yeah, pretty cool. That's the overall recap for Wave. I don't know exactly what to expect from her. I don't necessarily expect her power level to be too high, but it really doesn't matter. I would expect her powers to definitely resemble, in a lot of ways, Hydro Man. It just kind of makes sense. He's all made of water, and all of his attacks use water in some way. So whether we're going to get a physical attacker who deals energy damage like Hydro Man, or whether we're going to get something else, I'm not exactly sure, but it will be interesting to see what happens of her, or what comes of her, and what happens with the character, and how her skills are represented in Marvel Future Fight, because I'm sure that the devs are going to be looking at these same issues that we just covered in brief summary to gauge her power and to sort of get some visual ideas for how to express them in the game, and then put their own special flair on it. So let me know what you guys think. I'll pick out the best comments and give them a heart for kind of creativity if you want to suggest some ideas for skills that she could bring to the table, in addition to like a whirlpool effect, in addition to like a mini tsunami and some like kind of water hands, kind of water boxing type thing. Hit me up, let me know what you think, and let me know if you've read Agents of Atlas or the rest of the War of the Realms, and what you think of that series in general, because I might read that next and give you my thoughts on it. Maybe we get some reworks for Odin going or something like that. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you later today. Take care.